Hey everyone, thank you so much for being in this workshop. Really excited to start this event. Thank you for the event organizers to invite us and kind of facilitate this workshop. Today we're going to talk about augmented reality, virtual reality, and how you can build a cloud-connected app in 15 minutes or less. Thank you so much for joining, and now let's dive in. If you have any questions, feel free to write them in the chat if you're watching this live. So we're echoAR is a cloud platform for augmented and virtual reality apps, providing tools and network infrastructure for creators and developers like yourselves to build 3D applications at scale. I'm Alon, founder of echoAR. We're based in New York. I did my master's in computer science at Columbia University, specializing in AR and VR, and my undergrad studies in computer science, electrical engineering, specializing in cloud. So a certified nerd and a big believer in the AR VR space. Now, before we start, I want to level set here a little bit. We're going to throw out these terms a lot: augmented reality, virtual reality. So let's kind of level set and define them together so we understand that we're on the same page. So virtual reality or VR is when everything around you is digital. You're fully immersed in a 3D environment, and everything you see is a computer-generated image or CGI that is basically being projected into your eyes through some kind of headset that occludes everything you see. You're controlling the world with your hands or with some sort of controllers, as opposed to augmented reality or AR, in which you still see the real world, but that world is being overlaid with CGI, with computer-generated imagery, and you're looking at the world through some optical see-through, like glasses or a headset, or a camera see-through, like a phone or a tablet. Now, a really cool way to understand this is the amazing movie Space Jam, in which you have Michael Jordan being teleported into Looney Town. Everything around him is a cartoon. He's kind of fully immersed in this 3D environment, this cartoonish environment, as opposed to what we have later in the movie, in which we have Bugs and Looney Tunes coming to our world, playing basketball with Bill Murray and Michael Jordan in a real world court. So that's basically a differentiation. Either we are being teleported into Looney Town, or Looney Town is being kind of teleported into our world. So that's kind of AR versus VR. Another kind of example that you all know and love is something like Pokemon Go, that people are running around interacting with digital monsters that are not actually there in the real world. Or for VR, we have something like Beat Saber, that people are slashing cubes based on the rhythm of the music in a fully kind of CGI world that is kind of fully immersive. Another example of this that is really close to my heart, and the pun is definitely intended, is my thesis project back at Columbia University, where we took CT and MRI scans, converted them to 3D models, deployed them on the software that I've built for a Microsoft HoloLens, which is a AR headset, and basically allowed the physician to see the patient's heart in real time. It was an amazing, amazing use case of augmented reality in the operating room, so AR in the OR, and a really fantastic use case to allow the physician to see a 3D reference map of the patient's anatomy while they're doing the surgery. But the problem was that I had to do something I really, really hate, and that's waking up really early in the morning. I had to go to the hospital around 6 a.m., take those 2D scans, convert them to 3D models, rebuild the application, and deploy it to smart glasses for the physician to wear. And that process was so frustrating. I mean, it took so much time and effort. And as a developer, I only wanted to do two things. I wanted to manage 3D assets, and I wanted to deliver them to an AR device. And when talking to other developers who are building AR, VR applications for retail and shopping and data visualization and training and games, they all said the same thing. There's no easy way to kind of manage and deliver 3D data. But if you think about it, that problem was solved for what we call 2D data, right? If you want to build a website, you can use something like Heroku as your cloud platform. If you are building a mobile app, you can use something like Parse or Firebase as your backend as a service. So we went from web to mobile to now this new type of content, which is AR, VR, 3D, immersive, XR, call it whatever. And the question has to be asked, who's going to build that cloud platform for this new type of content? And you've guessed it, that's echoAR. So we are that cloud platform for 3D content, providing tools and network infrastructure for companies and developers to build applications at scale. Thank you again for being in this workshop today. We're going to see how to use our platform to build applications really, really quickly. If you're here through a kind of affiliated club or event or hackathon, make sure to use the affiliated link that we shared with the event organizers or club leaders to provide you with free perks. So definitely check that out. Now let's dive into some concepts and then show a demo and then do some coding together. So the same way you don't need to be a web developer to update a blog post, you can just drag and drop an image or video. Suddenly they appear in web and mobile. And if I'm in New York and you're in California and if you're watching an episode on Netflix, you can automatically get that the best streaming experience. We translate these concepts into augmented virtual reality, basically providing you with a way to manage and deliver 3D data and get the best 3D streaming experience. And what's interesting here is this kind of bidirectional connection between content and data, as opposed to what we have on an image that you as a user, you can't move an image or a video on a website. But in 3D, you can definitely move a 3D couch across the room, and that needs to be updated on the cloud. So this is basically what we've built, this 3D first content management system and delivery network that allows you to build applications really, really fast and easily. All you have to do is go to our website and register for free. But again, if you're here through an event or a club, make sure to use the affiliated link that we shared, usually on Discord or Slack, depending on how you plan to engage the event. And you're getting a perk that, like a specific registration link that you should use to kind of redeem that perk. After you register on our website, you are going to get a project key, an API key that kind of is associated with your project. What you're seeing on my screen right now, so on the left, you're seeing our console, and on the right, you're seeing my phone. And I'm going to start with something super simple. So after I registered, I got this API key. This is my key for my project. Now I'm going to add some content to the cloud. So I'm going to do add to cloud, and I'm going to throw in images, videos, 3D models, whatever works. I can also use these kind of sample 3D models that we have right here, or use our search engine to find 3D models that I want to use in my project. But I'm going to start with something simple. I'm going to throw in the Empire State right here. We're throwing into our cloud. What happens every time is that we take that 3D model that is really suited for 3D printing, and we're converting it so it works anywhere on Android, iOS, Magic Leap, you name it. So here we go. We have this kind of OBJ file automatically converted to GLB, USDZ seamlessly. You don't have to do anything technical to do that. And once we have that kind of aligned here, I'll go to the downloads dialog, and let's see. We have some sample apps that you can download in all these different SDKs. I'm going to open a sample app that you can, again, download here in our downloads menu. I'm going to plug in my API key. It will stream the data from the cloud to the device. So now the camera will instantiate. You're seeing a view of my apartment. The camera recognizes the floor. And voila, the Empire State is here with me. How cool is that? I can walk around it, walk inside, super, super simple. And all I had to do is just upload it to our cloud. If I want to change this, what happens now? So instead of rebuilding the application or doing anything technical, I'm going to go back to the console. I'm going to delete the previous entry, upload something else, and it will automatically update. So this is an example of how you can have a really, really small app. The data is not actually persistent there, and the data will stream from the cloud to the device. So the app will be super small. It's just a camera, and the content is coming from the cloud. Now we have the same process. We're basically kind of uploading a new type of content. Now we're going to open the exact same app. No reinstallation needed. Camera recognizes the floor. And voila, instead of the Empire State, now we have this different apartment building. How cool is that? With just a few clicks. Okay, so now this is a kind of native mobile example. As I mentioned, again, we have this kind of sample app that you can download for Android and iOS. But for example, we work with a company, an art agency space that wanted to be able to randomly walk into an art gallery, see 3D files around them without doing anything technical. And for that, we have a WebAR integration. So for example, if I click this button right here, it will open a QR code that you can scan. If you're watching this live, you can scan this yourself with your with your phone right now. So just put your phone in front of this QR code. It will redirect to a website. You don't have to install anything, and it will automatically allow you to see this in augmented reality. So a web page opened, I am able to see this building right here. Again, all you have to do is just click here, kind of scan this with your phone. I'm going to click CNAR. It will redirect to a camera. Again, camera will instantiate. You don't have to do anything. And voila, suddenly automatically we're able to see this building right here with me. How cool is that? And all I had to do was just click CNAR. Awesome. So again, you can do the same yourself. This has no app, no installation needed. This is our WebAR integration. So we saw mobile, we saw web. Now let's show another example of Unity. It's a game engine a lot of developers love to use, and later we're going to do a kind of deep dive coding into Unity. But I'm going to open this sample app right here. Data, again, will stream from the cloud to the device, very similar to what we had earlier. No surprises there. Camera will recognize the floor and overlay that 3D model. But what happens if I want to change this in real time? So what I can do is I can click this button right here to expose the data panel. And I can add some data to our model, and I can stream it in real time. For example, I can say, I want this to rotate. So let's do direction equals right. I want this to animate a little bit. There you go. Suddenly it starts rotating in real time. How cool is that? Let's say I think it's too small. Let's make it bigger. Bam. All these updates are happening in real time, almost like kind of push notifications for the 3D model, telling it to grow, to become smaller, to become bigger, to rotate and stuff like that. Super, super simple. Perfect. So everything we saw so far basically relies on the camera recognizing the floor or some kind of surface. This is what we call surface detection. The camera recognizes some kind of surface and overlays 3D data on top of that. Another thing that we support is image recognition. The camera can recognize an image and overlay data on top of that. So let's see how that works. So I'm going to click this button right here. And instead of doing see on the floor, I'm going to do see on an image. Again, you can use your phone to scan this right now. If you're watching this live, just put your phone in front of this. Most phones have a built-in QR code scanner. Redirect to a website. You don't have to install anything. But now keep your phone oriented towards the image. And now, bam, suddenly this kind of 3D model overlays the image. It pops out of my screen as opposed to being on the floor. How cool is that? And this image could be anything you want. Right now, it's a QR code, but it could actually be literally anything. It could be your business card. And when you scan it, it kind of shows a video of yourself talking about yourself. It could be a magazine when you overlay it with ads. Let's show an example with videos. I'm going to throw in a video file right here, and I'm going to choose on an image. So I'm going to throw in a specific image that I want to be as the target. Let's throw that in. And another thing that you can do is you can also upload content based on location. So I can throw in this 3D model, and I can say I want this to be in a specific location. For example, I want this model to be in New York. That way, when I open the app in New York, I'm going to see the, let's say, the Empire State Building. But if I open it in San Francisco, I'm going to see the the Golden Gate Bridge, for example. So the kind of different content and different locations. Really, really cool stuff. So now we see those 3D models that we have here. We see the videos. Let's scan the video now, and let me show you how that works on a specific image. So I'm going to scan this QR code. Again, redirects to a website. You don't have to install anything. Let's give it a sec. Yeah, and once that is done, you see that it doesn't recognize the QR code anymore. But if I go here, the video will kind of overlay the image instead. And I press that to kind of play it. I can kind of make it bigger, make it smaller. Super, super simple. Perfect. So we saw surface detection, we saw image recognition. Let me show you other stuff that you can do in the console yourself. So we already saw the downloads kind of menu that you're able to kind of see different SDKs that we support and kind of integrate that into your application or just download the sample apps. You can also swap a theme, which is really cool, to basically kind of change the colors of the console. You can use the help menu, which is really, really important. It gives you a link to our documentation, which I'll share in the comments right here. But basically, it has a step-by-step guide of everything we just did: how to get your key, how to upload content, how to share it. Let me show you how to do that as well. You can literally share this 3D model through QR codes, or just click the share button right here, and it will kind of auto-generate this short link to the model that I'm going to share in the chat as well. So we'll go through it. It's really important to kind of go and understand how to use echoAR through the documentation. Really, really powerful stuff. Another resource that we have here is our GitHub page. It is filled with amazing open source examples that you can build. If you're building a project or you're in a hackathon and you're kind of don't have a lot of time, you can use all of these resources to really kind of build your application really quickly, because a lot of it is kind of already kind of made for you. So if I do, let's show you a few examples. Let's do the portal, and let's do the game change. Now let's do the board, and let's do makeup tutorial. There's really, really cool stuff here, everyone. Check this out. So let's do, what else is cool? We can do hand tracking, and we can do, there's so many really cool kind of open source examples that you can literally kind of use. They're all open source, and let's review some of them together real quick. So here we have an example of a kind of face swap. You can kind of swap a face with just throwing an image and using this code. Here's an example of a portal that allows you to kind of teleport yourself into a different world, both in AR and VR. Here's an example of a board game that you can build. Basically throw in these, like this board and these pieces, and automatically you're able to build this kind of quick game. Very cool. Here's the makeup tutorial that you can build. Definitely recommended. Here's the hand tracking example that you can use hand tracking to control 3D models. Here's an example of a living room inside the living room that you can kind of use 3D models and videos together. Here's an example for an election demo that you can build in AR or VR, throw in images, 3D models, and kind of visualize the results in real time. Here's an example of a solar system if you want to build an educational app. Here's an example for a COVID-19 tracker. Later, we're going to build that together. Here's an example for image recognition. So you can kind of bring images to life. Super, super cool. And maybe another example of a remote work application that allows you to kind of put a person's face in some kind of bubble to send specific data that you want them to say. Other resource that we have is our Slack channel right here. Definitely join to ask any questions. Our team will be there, and I'll try to hang out in our Slack channel as well to kind of answer any questions. This is the place to ask any kind of echoAR related questions and support. Also, you have our email here, or just you can always send us a tweet. Perfect. So let's continue reviewing what you can do in the console. So we already saw how you can add content. Let's see how you can kind of manage data. We already saw you can add specific data to 3D models, but you can also add data across your entire application. For example, we work with a company that built a kind of scavenger hunt murder mystery game. They had 3D models associated with different scenes, but they also had data that kind of works across the entire application. In the subscription page, you're able to see how much bandwidth, storage, and API calls you're making. Make sure to use the affiliate link to get one of our paid plans for free for a limited amount of time. In the location page, we see the distribution of content. Remember, we added that Fox in New York. So here it is, and we see the servers that are supporting your application. In the security page, you're able to kind of see kind of more security features, and you can add users to your application. So if you're working on a project as a team, you can add other team members to your project. The insights page is really powerful, allows you to see how your application is doing. So here, for example, we just streamed this kind of building. So we see a spike in usage right here. And we can also kind of monitor how your project is doing. So really, really cool stuff. Users allow you to use the users around the world. We just started the applications that are pretty empty, but the minute you kind of start, people start using your application, you're going to see it here. In the tutorials page, you're able to see really, really cool examples of kind of open source examples that you can use, frequently asked questions. So definitely review it. You can do wall art, and you can do kind of change colors and stuff like that. It's really, really cool stuff. Check them out. And the inspiration page is my favorite page. This is the page that is filled with amazing AR/VR examples, some of made with echoAR, like the murder mystery game that I mentioned, or the art installation, or a project that we did with Verizon 5G. This is kind of filled with amazing examples of AR/VR that you should kind of go through to get inspired. Things that people are building for healthcare and digital media and advertising and games, and things around COVID-19 even. That people, for example, these are kind of some submissions that we got from different hackathons. If you build something, let us know, and we're going to feature you on this page as well. People use here like all these resources for image detection and surface recognition and game engine. There's really, really cool stuff like this mask visualizer, for example. Really, really cool stuff that I really highly encourage you to kind of go through to get inspired, but also let us know so you can kind of feature you as well. Perfect. So we saw how you can build applications on the mobile, on web, on Unity. Now let's dive into a coding exercise and show you how to build applications with specifically with Unity, with the game engine. So you can download Unity. It's a free game engine. It's right here. Once you have Unity installed, all you have to do is just download our SDK right here. So just download the Unity SDK and import that into your project. You're going to get this empty scene in the echoAR folder. If I click it and go to examples and open the sample scene, I'm going to get this empty scene with the echoAR game object right here. There's nothing here. You can see it's totally empty. What I'm going to do right here is I'm going to take my API key and my project key, and I'll plug it into the game engine right here. After you click this game object, this will appear. I'm going to press play. Data will stream from the cloud to the game engine, like we saw earlier, the data streams from the cloud to the device. Here we go. We see the building rotating. We see the fox inside the building, and we see the video. I'm going to delete the video because it's playing in my ear. But basically what we see here is that the video automatically disappears, right? I just clicked it, delete, and automatically disappeared. Let's move the fox a little bit to the side so it won't be occluded by the building. Bam, suddenly it's here. Again, all these things happen in real time. If I stop Unity from playing, everything disappears. Remember, nothing actually persists in memory. Everything comes from the cloud and being rendered in real time. What's cool about this is, again, your app that you're going to build will be super, super small, and you're able to push updates in real time. If I press play again, data will stream from the cloud to the device once more, to the game engine. But now, see how cool is that? That like the fox is 10 feet away, the building is already rotating. This is what we call a stateful CMS. It remembers the state of the content management system, the state of the content, and is able to kind of recreate the scene just with a few clicks. But now what we're going to do if you want to change something. So let me delete the building and put the fox back in the center. We have the fox right here, Arctic fox. But now let's say I want to change something. I want to add some features through code. So what's cool about echoAR is that every 3D model has the custom behavior script attached to it. It's a Unity script written in C#. So if you know C#, perfect. But if you know any other object-oriented language, you're also good. Since in a Unity format, it has specific functions that I want us to review together. One is the start function, evident by its name, happens when you start the application. Another function is the update function. It's a really interesting function. It happens every single frame. Remember, you're coding in 3D now. So that means that there's like this video being rendered or this scene being kind of run. And this, you can kind of regard this as a while true loop or like an infinite for loop that kind of runs and runs this snippet of code every single frame. But it also means that if this function hangs or gets stuck, your entire application hangs or gets stuck. So this needs to be really kind of well optimized. Remember your computer science fundamentals. But let's start with the kind of start function. Let's see what we have here. We're adding some script to the game object, and then we're asking, do I have any additional data? If that's the case, do I have an additional data called name? If that's the case, let's set the name of the game object to that name. We have a question in the chat. So this is not Java, this is C#. So now let's see how that works in practice. If I add a name to the 3D model, let's call the fox Kevin, play again, data will stream from the cloud to the game agent, and voila, suddenly we have Kevin the fox. How cool is that? So instead of having it named Arctic Fox, only it's named Kevin. If I change this to something else, for example, Sam, nothing happens. Why is that? Because that snippet of code works in the start function, only when we start the application. So if I'll restart the application, then the fox will be named Sam. There we go. So what can I do to make this happen in real time? So you've guessed it, we're going to move that snippet of code from the start function to the update function. Now this means that every single frame we're going to ask, do I have any additional data? If so, do I have a name? If so, let's set the name of the fox to that name. So let's see how that works in practice. So we're going to let Unity recompile the app a little bit. I'm going to press play. Data, again, will stream from the cloud to the game engine. We're seeing Sam the fox. But now when I switch it back to Kevin, bam, suddenly it's switched back. How cool is that? So this is obviously a simple example to show you that you can swap a name, but you can do anything. You can use these metadata to enable or disable features remotely, change things in real time, make any change that you want, control if flows, control loops, anything you want just with a few clicks. Now let's transition to a more complicated example. So I'm going to delete this 3D model. I'm going to recreate the kind of Unity code visualizers that we saw earlier. So I am going to add some 3D model from my computer this time. So let's do that. And I'm also going to attach this kind of CSV file, this Excel file that has all these kind of keys and values already predefined, so I don't have to manually define them. If you throw in a CSV file in this format, our system will automatically kind of parse it along with the upload. So let's do that. I'm also going to swap the custom behavior script under the hood. So we're going to have a different script now, and let's review it together. So now custom behavior, I think, is much more interesting. We have some kind of array of continents. We have a dictionary. We have a data structure. The start function looks pretty much the same, but the update function, again, is much more interesting. We're asking, do I have any additional data? If so, do I have a scale? If that's the case, let's kind of parse that into an integer and save that scale. Then let's iterate over all continents. We'll ask, do I have a entry data specifically for a continent? If that's the case, save that number of cases. And then once we have that, let's say, if I have a graph, let's kind of scale it up to the number of cases. If not, let's create a graph by creating a cylinder, give it a color, give it a name, give it a location, give it some text. And if we don't have a graph, let's delete it. Super simple. So we already see that we have Earth right here. And we see that all the data was going to already pre-added. So we see all the continents right here. And now let's click play and see what happens. Again, data streams from the cloud to the game engine. And how cool is that? Suddenly we have Earth spinning right here. And we have all these kind of bars that shows you in kind of this virtual environment, showing you all the information. And now we can also change things in real time. If I change this from Antarctica from 1 to 8, bam, suddenly it kind of jumps in real time. If I delete it, it automatically disappears. So again, this is a cool example app to show you how you can build something in 3D. Then you can build that for augmented reality or VR. You can take this code, again, it's on our GitHub page, fully open source. You can play around with it. You can expand on it. You can connect this to the WHO's APIs, the World Health Organization, to actually get real-time updates of the number of COVID cases in each continent, as opposed to you plugging that in manually, adding some API calls through our API. You can read more in our documentation and create a really I think, hackathon-winning application with just a few clicks, and just going to add some real-time visualizers. It's really good stuff. Awesome. So now let's go back to the slides and recap a little bit. So what do we see so far? So we saw, as a developer, you can choose any platform that you want: mobile, web, Unity, you name it. As a non-techie, no worries. Everything we did in the beginning was really non-technical. You can drag and drop 3D models, automatically see them in AR on your phone through a sample app or through scanning a QR code. We saw that we build, store, and deliver assets all over the world. We understood that you as a developer save time and money in building your application, that content creators need no technical skills, and that companies can scale to enterprise level just by kind of using echoAR. We talked about use cases like surgery and tourism and shopping and data visualization. We saw the inspiration page that is filled with amazing examples of AR and VR. And I'm super excited to see what you're going to build. Let us know, so we'll be able to feature you in that page as well. A little bit more about us as a company. We won a bunch of awards, and we were back with some of the most amazing investors out there. We are also featured in all these tech events. So once things go back to normal and events are a thing, make sure to say hello to us in the next tech event that you're in. We'd love to say that we inspire people to build applications across all platforms. So start building. This is definitely the time to build AR, VR applications at scale. Use our resources. Again, if you're here through Hackathon or club, use the affiliated link to register. Check out our documentation, read through it, join our Slack, and kind of start building. This is definitely the time to build 3D applications. As I mentioned, don't forget to register. Thank you so much for being in this workshop. Really appreciate everyone's time. Start building. This is definitely the time to build, and I'm super excited to see what you're all going to do with echoAR. Thank you. Stay safe, healthy, and sane. If you have any questions, please write them in the chat. And if not, again, start building. Thank you so much, everyone.